Long Island native, now California transplant, is a musician, and he's been in many bands. He was in a band called Arrogant Sons of Bitches, bombed the music industry, Antarctico Vespucci, Death Rosenstock, the Bruce Lee Band. I'm sure some others. What have I been in?
What about me? Mike Park runs Asian Man Records, also runs Fun Records.
That's that's my cash cow.
He was in Stankin' Pickle. He was in the Chinkies. He toured with Bad Manners. Magama Taishi, who could forget? You've got solo records, Bruce Lee Band. What am I missing? I know that there's more.
There's so many more. You're missing.
Hero we got.
Bands that have played with you in recent years.
Bands that have played. Oh, Kitty Cat Fan Club, of course. I forgot the newbies. Got Kitty Cat Fan Club. We got Ogie Kubo Station. Did I miss any more that have played with me recently?
I think that's it.
Is that
it? That's good. That's good.
It? That's not it.
If it's not it, I can't remember the other bands because getting old, Jeff. Not young like you.
Yeah. Someday you'll be young like me.
When was the first time you were aware of me?
Of you?
Yeah.
Probably when I got the Green album somewhere. And I'd heard of Skankin' Pickle. And then I probably listened to it in a listening station. It was like, oh, this is good. Or maybe Skankin' Pickle was on a comp. That's how I came across it. But I was aware of you because you wrote the liner notes in it, where you talked a little bit about DIY stuff, about starting Asian Man, and about quitting Skankin' Pickle. And I was like all right. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool move, right? Is that how your band found out? They got the CD. It was like, oh man.
No, it was planned. It was planned. I'm a nice guy. I wouldn't do something that horrific.
Well, I mean, I think I know, but how did you become aware of me?
I think it was when Asian Man, we used to do a lot more like community events where we would I'd send out a newsletter and say, hey, we're going to the amusement park this day, meet us at this place in front of the gates at this time. And I was doing stuff at the Oakland A's baseball parking lot where we would do like tailgating and then go to a ball game. And you were on tour with your band, Arrogant Sons of Bitches. Mm-hmm. And you showed up to our tailgate.
Yes. With a generator. Maybe Mike Park will let us play in this parking lot. And you were like, I don't want to get in trouble. And we were like, that's okay. And then you gave us food. And we were like, this is awesome. We're eating. And we had a nice time. We went to the game with you. Do you remember that we went to the game?
I do remember. But the thing about this is I feel guilty because you wanted to play. But after that encounter, I decided I'm actually going to put on a show the next year. So I put on a show the next year in the Oakland A's parking lot just to see if we would get in trouble. And it was great. Like security guards would roll up and they would just kind of watch and then they'd roll away. I remember giving some CDs to them. I'm like, hey, here's some CDs. They're like, oh, thanks. But we had an amazing show that we did. I think it was our 12th year anniversary. No, it's I'm looking at the poster, 11-year anniversary. And we had in the Oakland A's parking lot, the Lawrence Arms, Andrew Jackson Jihad, Shinobu, Pterodon, the Toys That Kill played. It was an amazing show.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. And I've been meaning to do it again, but it's hard. It's a lot of work. Jeff, how did the Bruce Lee Band come about?
How did the Bruce Lee Band come about? I don't know. That's a band that you started. So I feel like that's...
so I should answer this question. Okay.
Possible.
So the Bruce Lee Band started with an overflow of songs that I had for Skankin' Pickle that as near the end of the band's lifespan, because it was such a democratic band, other people wrote, even though I wrote a majority of the songs, but then members kept coming in with more songs, and I knew like I'm not going to get all these songs in. So I had these extra songs, and I had asked Less Than Jake at the time, hey, do you want to do this, just like a fun side project? And so that was the genesis of the Bruce Lee Band.
What was happening at the time?
I think I had realized it had been 10 years between albums, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do another one. And that was it. I think it was only 7 songs.
It's an EP.
It's an EP.
Yeah.
But same thing. It was just like, I just wanted to like do something fun. I think I had been offered a tour of Japan. And so that made with the Bruce Lee Band. So I thought, well, I need a band. So I reached out to RX Bandits and I said, do you want to do this? And at the same time, well, let's record something. And they said, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, cool. So you had like a offered a tour with Kamuri?
No, it was just a festival.
Oh.
We had done. It was we actually got to play the main stage, which was funny because I remember like Dillinger Escape Plan against me playing the smaller stage.
And this is Bruce Lee Band with RX Bandits?
Yeah, exactly. And I had made 200 T-shirts for the tour, for the one show. And then at the end of the night, I was like, settling up with the money. And I was like, oh, how did we do? They're so nice in Japan. They're like, oh, we sold 7.
So, okay. So then we started working on that Bruce Lee Band record. Was that just another 10 years or?
Yeah, it was another 10 years.
Was that the impetus for like asking me to start working on something with you?
I thought, weren't we just kind of chilling and listening to Operation Ivy and saying, oh man, we should do a ska punk record?
Maybe. I've heard you say this. When would we have just been like sitting down somewhere, chilling and listening to?
I think you were sleeping over. You were sleeping over my house. You played like a solo show, and we were listening to it. And then we were like, oh, we should do this.
Yeah. I'm glad that we did. Maybe I was trying to think, I feel like you might have already mentioned doing Bruce Lee Band to me. And maybe I was like, well, if we do it, let's make it. Cause I was just thinking like, I don't know. I was thinking about that run of records that you had with the Chinkies and just how completely solid every song on it is just like great, just like upbeat ska energy. Let's go. And I was like, I want, yeah, man. I was like, I want to be in a band like that with Mike. I wanted our Bruce Lee Band to be good. I know that it has eras, and I was like, I didn't want to be the person who hops in there and fucks it up. So I was like, let's pick up some like good ska punk shit, Also, because nobody was really making records like that at that point,
right?
Know?
Exactly.
Now it seems like it's a thing more, ska.
Sure.
But especially then, like we weren't doing it in any defiant way. We're just like, I was like, oh, I'm not hearing this music and I like listening to this music. So I would like to make some of this music. I want someone else to write all the songs. Yeah.
But the reason I've stayed with this lineup of the Death Rosenstock Band is because I had asked, I was going to do some shows with the Bruce Lee Band with different musicians because you were on tour, and you said to me very calmly and said, I would really like this to be like a permanent band, like, and use the same lineup. And I was like, that's all it took. I was like, okay. And then you said, well, obviously you can do it if you want. I'm like, no, I'm not going to.
Well, thanks.
I'm only going to use the same live band.
Do you feel like it has, now you hate it? Because now you ended up, this is like your fun project, and now you're stuck in the band and you're doing press, and you're like, you know what I mean? Like it's not anymore just like, let's smoke weed in the garage and like try and make a song sound like a reggae song. You know what I mean?
No, this is the best band because we all have our main gig. Everyone has their main project. So this is strictly like, obviously we try to make it sound as good as we can, and we want it to do well, but
if we want it to be good.
Yeah, we want it to be good. But if people don't like it and it gets no coverage, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? I think we did it strictly to travel. Like we wanted to go to exotic places. Division of Heartland came out last Friday.
Yes.
You like the record?
No. No. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, I really like it. I was excited. It was fun to like try to think. I feel like Rental Eviction we did so fast that we didn't even have time to like do this. We did both of these so fast.
Yeah.
But like Division in the Heartland in particular, maybe it's because I was staying alone at a hotel, but like listening to like the Rush every day as I like drove back. It was like the exact amount of time to drive from the studio to the hotel and listening to the Rush every day. I just remember every day being like, oh shit, this is turning out good. This is a good record. It was cool. I really liked the song Division in the Heartland. I really like how you're singing on it. I thought all the songs were really good. And I appreciated that when I was like, hey, Mike, you write a song in a major key? Just one. You did? I was like, okay, cool, thanks. How do you feel about it? How do you feel
I like it.
in your body of work? Is that even something that you consider? Like, oh, this is like I've put out like 30 records, but this one feels like a good one.
Yeah, I like it. I can listen to it and not cringe. A lot of the Skank and Pickle stuff I can't listen to. I listen to it and I just cringe.
Why?
Because I didn't write all the songs. Is that terrible to say?
No, it's fine.
It was such a democracy.
It's not because you didn't write the songs. Is that certain songs you're just like, I'm not down with this vibe? Is that more of it?
Yeah. Well, lyrically, like if it's something I was like, man, the original bass player just wrote some whack stuff and he was so into funk. So he just wanted to slap bass on everything. And it was just like, oh. And he sounded like Kermit the Frog, like meets David Byrne. So it was just like, well, and I was like, oh. But
do you wish I was slapping more?
Yeah, I wish it was all slap bass. Just everything, like any melodic bass line, it's like do 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 do, just like everything, slap slap slap.
All right, I gotta practice my slaps for the next one.
You do quote unquote records. Why did you start quote unquote?
Well, I started quote unquote because it started with Bomb, which was when ASOB had broken up, or when I was like yelling at everybody about shit. Getting on my fucking anti-capitalist high horse. I was just like, hey, I just wanted to write songs and put them out. And I wasn't even trying to play shows with Bomb the Music Industry. I was just like, I've been working on this one record with my band for 4 years. I have all these songs. I want to start putting them out. I want to start like finishing them and like not having them like just live in my head rent free and just like take up space. You know what I mean? Cause I've told you this, like I get really anxious when I'm like making music and then it just like stops and sits there like unfinished for a long time. Like that makes me just feel uneased all the time.
What about my children's album?
Your children's album? I think we're putting out the songs from it that were good. I think that a lot of that stuff was like, I don't feel like we got there. I'll be honest. Like, what do we do? We did a cover of Ska, Jamaican Ska. Does the kids need that version of that? I don't even feel like we just like played it.
I'm giving you a hard time because you said.
I know, but I'm also like, Jonah is good and Jonah's out there. The Alphabet song turned out good. I think Mike's song, Trotting Dog, is really good. Do you remember Trotting Dog?
I do.
Trotting Dog.
We've only released one
Truck,
song.
I guess could be good, but you wanted a part where kids were just saying the names of monster trucks, but I like that. Anyway, but like, so I did Bomb stuff, and then like I put those songs online, and then eventually got together just like some friends to play a show. And then it was just kind of like, okay, it was a collective. You come in, you come out. It doesn't matter. Like, I just wanted all the rules of like being in a band, everything that like makes it have pressure. I was just like, I don't want any of that. And I'll just record for free at home. And I have a job and like, I'm not worrying about this to make money and like whatever. And And then eventually like started playing shows and started doing some light touring. And on one of the tours, I saw my friend Matt Kurz in Richmond, and he opened for us doing this one-man band thing, and it was amazing. And we were just like, hey, man, get in the van, play every show with us. And he was like, I got nothing going on. Okay. And so we did like 3 weeks. We threw him on every show. This is when Bomb was me and Rick in an iPod, because the rest of the band, which wasn't a band, said like, we can't do the tour. And I was like, okay, gotta figure it out. And Rick was like, I'll just play bass. It'll be fine. But there was a show on that tour where where 5 people came to the show, but we had a guarantee of $100. And the promoter was like, I mean, I could give you your guarantee. And we were like, it's not even that much money. We could really use it. So we just flipped a coin in the parking lot and decided whether or not we were going to get paid that day. And it landed heads and we got paid. It worked out great. But because I felt bad. It's like, have you ever had to do that? Have you ever had to like,
of course,
ask somebody for money when like you're just like, God, nobody has this money.
Yeah, of course. I've felt that guilt many times, knowing the promoter lost money.
Yeah, you got to think like, I mean, now it's like, they make money and other stuff, but whatever.
Sure.
Anyway, once we were done with that tour, I was just it like got me feeling very good about like kind of this accidental community that Bomb the music industry had around it that I really didn't know existed or anticipated was going to exist. And I was thinking about Matt's record, and I was like, I think you should do the same thing I did. But I also understood that like I had a certain amount of like momentum from ASOB that helped that out. So I was like, I'll start a thing, and I'll call it quote unquote records, and you can put your record out in that. So it'll like, maybe just kind of like build this little world. And then I just kept doing it. I kept trying to convince bands to put their new records on quote unquote for free before like streaming and stuff was a thing. Sometimes people wanted to do it. Sometimes people didn't. Sometimes people would like not really tell anybody it was on quote unquote. Sometimes people would tell people it was on quote unquote. It really like, and I can't like name names. I can't remember like who acted which way really. But I do feel like the bands that like let people know that their shit was on quote unquote, it always seemed to do a good job, because like, hey, guess what? If more people hear your band, more people are going to like your band, because you're just like casting a wider net, Yeah.
And I feel like you were the first one to do the suggested donation, pay what you want, or download it for free.
Yeah. And that was just there, like, I just felt bad, like trying to push my shit on Kurz and be like, all right, it's got to be free. Like, I was like, I guess you should, why not give somebody an option to donate if they want to do that? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. That kind of like stood out for me. When you were starting to do stuff like that, it was like, wow, this is really revolutionary almost. Because I had never heard of any band doing it before. So heck yeah.
Like it's funny. I with Jack Terrycloth from World Inferno sadly passing away a couple of weeks ago. I've been listening to those records some more, and I remember now World Inferno just had like all their songs on worldinferno.com. Like in just like on the homepage where this is how I remember, it's just like, paragraph of text, which is just like worded in a very World Inferno-y way. And then like a list of links to MP3s of their songs, and you could like right click, save target as, and have like these World Inferno songs. So there were bands that like crept that idea in my head probably, and I didn't realize it was happening. But like, isn't that funny? Just like a list of links.
I love that.
I love that shit.
Are you putting out anything on quote unquote, anything coming out?
Coming out in there's stuff in the works that we're doing vinyl for that we haven't announced yet. That's not like Bomb or Death Rosenstock releases. There's 2 things we have coming up that I'm excited about, but haven't announced them yet. And quote unquote, I don't know. Quote unquote is weird. It's quote unquote became a weird thing because it's like everybody has streaming, and Bandcamp exists now. So it seems like this space, like like it's not as necessary as it was when it started. But then also it's just kind of like this weird like music blog for buddies and stuff like that. So like,
Okay.
I don't know if Bob, for example, Bob Vielma, who used to work at Asian Man Records and in Shinobu, and a bunch of like other great projects like Tadaima and Yulia. Like if Bob wanted to put out a record on quote unquote and hit me up, I'd be like, okay, sure. But like, it's not like, it's more like that kind of thing, you know?
Sure.
What about, do you have anything coming out of Asian Man that you're stoked about?
Yeah, there's a band I've been working with called Small Crush. They're from Oakland, 4-piece. They were just in high school when I started working with them. I think they're the youngest band on my label. No, because I had Dog Party when they were like 15 years old. But I think the ages are 2 or 18. I think Logan is 20. And then the drummer, I think, is the oldest at 22. But man, Logan, she writes the best. Her like indie rock feel is so good. She's like this great singer-songwriter, and just I'm in love with that music that they're putting out. So I'm really excited. She's writing music for a new album. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. Who knows when that'll be out, but
that's awesome.
I'm excited for that. That's the band. Yeah. That's the band, bro. That's the brand.
That's the brand. Okay. So you do there's an interesting thing with Asian Man that I don't think a lot of record labels necessarily get, where you have had like a second life and a third life, and just kind of like keep finding these waves, whether it was like the ska punk stuff in the 90s or kind of like, I don't know, the world that like my band was in the 2000s with like Lemuria and AJJ and Shinobu, Hard Girls, that kind of stuff. And now with like just kind of younger punk bands like Grumster, Sarcasm, Small Crush. I assume they're all younger people than me because I'm old. Like how, is there a point before like that other wave starts every time you're like, fuck it, I'm going to give it all up. I'm going to pack it all in. This thing is like risen and fallen and it's done. And then also like, are you already trying to think about like, and I know you don't think about the stuff or plan the stuff. I guess it just happens, but there must be something in you that like pushes you to continue to try and be relevant with your label, you know?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, if the smartest thing for me to do would just be to stop putting out new records and just because my back catalog is pretty impressive. Like I could just make a killing selling.
We get it.
Yeah.
And so get it.
But it's fun to work with new bands because I love the dynamic of a young band that is not jaded yet. They are excited about everything, excited to go on their first tour, excited to make their first record, excited about making liner notes. And it just seems kind of boring to like, hey, I'm going to work with this already established band that has like 5 records out. I know they're going to sell this amount. It's like, what does that, I mean, I feel like at that point, what's the reason? The band should just put out the music themselves. Or at least for me, I don't really do much for established bands. There's nothing I can do to like uptick their status or profile. So the process is always like
that, but sure.
Yeah, I want to work with new bands. It's challenging too. It's like I don't want the easy way out. I'd like to just like create for the beginning, like with Alkaline Trio, Lawrence Arms, Bomb the Music, AJJ. We were there from the beginning. Lemuria. It's like, let's put out their first records and just see where they go. Even, I was about to say more stuff, but yeah.
A little too hot for TV.
Yeah, a little bit too hot.
I should let anybody watching this know that like when I started a physical record label to put out Vacation, last Bond Music Industry record, we were going to put it out in Asian Man, and I asked Mike, and Mike just said, you should just start your own label and do it on your own, and basically gave me every Like, not like these are hard contacts to get or anything, but you're just like, you press at this place, you get your jackets done at this place, you do this. This is how you find mailers. It's easy. And it was just basically, you were like using DCA. It's easy. Like, just basically told me every way that you do it in a very quick way. And I was like, okay. And I was like up and running, started a record label. And I really don't know too many other record labels who would, well, I don't know. It's not like I know hella record labels or I've been in that situation before, but that just, it seems like a cool thing to just like, to like pay forward the knowledge instead of just try to be like, how long could I take advantage of the fact that most bands don't know how to do this stuff, you know?
I've tried so hard to tell bands to put out their own records because they'll make more money, especially if the artist is depending on music as they're living. And so, especially with the income from digital downloads, there's no reason for an established band to have a label. They should be keeping all the money, all of it.
Well, if they want to have, I don't know. But then you have a label. So then like, why are people doing it with you?
Because they like me. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, but like, what is your sell for putting out a record on Asian Man? If you're like everybody,
it's nothing. I guess
your sell is a weird way to say that. Sorry.
It's not even.
I've been in the music business for too long, Mike. Now I'm talking all gross.
Yeah, it's not a sell. It's really me trying to talk them out of it. Like, and I'm really upfront of my limitations.
I remember now when I spoke to you on the phone about Bond the music industry. You were basically just like, hey man, I don't do like publicists. Like, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. And I was like, no, I'm excited.
Yeah. It's really come down to a lot of bands like, hey, we just want to be part of like a community. Yeah. And we were fans. A lot of people say they grew up fans of Asian Man and they just wanted a record on Asian Man. So I'm like, all right, let's do it.
How does that feel for you? Does that break through the layers of self-doubt that like, you know, any of us and our friends have and like make you feel like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, I've created like a multi-generational, like, I don't know, just like community.
It's cool. You know, it's funny. It's finally starting to, I finally am feeling some peace of like, hey, maybe I've done something cool here.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's taken a while, but I finally I'm kind of like, hey, sit back and kind of look at the body of work and go, okay, I've been able to create some cool stuff and it's neat. And more importantly, I've been able to make some incredible friendships through the years of just taking friendship over business, you know, instead of business over friendship.
That's an interesting thing to mention because throughout the pandemic, how did it feel? I know for me, like so many of my friends are people who live in another state and who I see when they like either pass through where I live on tour or I see them when I'm on tour. But throughout the last year and a half, I haven't really seen any of those, like any of these people who I'd usually see. And I know it felt like, it made me feel very like detached in a lot of ways from like my friends in my community and stuff. Did you have a hard time with that or just me, or how'd you deal with like just kind of that feeling? You also like you have a family, so
yeah, sure. It was different for me because you know, I was also like coming off like a mental health, like just spiral of just craziness in the end of 2019. So the beginning of the pandemic, I was kind of like, I kind of like this. Yeah. I have no responsibilities to go anywhere because I, you know, when a band is on tour that I work with, I can't just not go. I have to, I have to go and hang out. That's true. And I'm going to do that a lot more.
I mean, you've definitely been like, I'm not like, I don't know. I'm always surprised when I see you because I always feel like we're close enough friends that like Mike knows that if he can't go to the show, he doesn't have to go to the show and we'll see each other.
Sometimes I'll go early and leave before the show starts. I'll just go and hang out and say, all right, I'm out of here. Oh, yeah. Who tweeted this? The healthiest thing for ska is for bands to stay away from major labels. Do not let the corporations destroy this music.
You tweeted that, but Mike, are you really worried about the corporations destroying ska?
I said that it was strictly because I feel like we're in a really healthy period with ska right now.
Yeah.
And as I'm sure you know, anytime a sound is oversaturated, it ruins the integrity of the music. So the major labels have been away from ska for so long. If they jump on the train again, because obviously if they think they can make money, they're going to jump on the train. Is it going to create another situation where we had in the late 90s where if you look back at like every venue, the music calendar in the 90s, 50% of the shows were ska, and it was just overkill. It was every kid who played in the marching band was in a ska band.
Yes.
And it created a situation where kids didn't really know the music well, and they were just playing a really terrible version of ska, like a drummer who had no feel for it, just playing a rock beat over it, and just like, oh. And I just remember like going, I can't take this anymore. It soured me where I couldn't even listen to, and most of the bands were playing like ska punk, and I couldn't listen to ska punk anymore. I had to just listen to roots reggae, dub, and Jamaican ska.
And indie rock. This is in your famous Asian man indie rock days. But like, man, I hear what you're saying, and trust me, I've played a lot of shows with a lot of ska bands that were not, ideal for the ears. But like, I feel like that's also kind of part of the, I don't know if that was major labels doing it, or I don't know.
Sure it was. Because
major labels putting ska out there for everybody to see. It just seemed like it was a thing that like anybody could do it, and so everybody did do it. You're talking about a different thing?
Signing spree. I feel I can't.
How many ska bands verify this? Okay.
Misfits of Ska compilation that I put out. Mm-hmm. When I put that album out, no band was on a major label. I can't verify this, but I feel like an A&R person went down that compilation and scouted every band. Yeah, so from that compilation, Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, Sublime, Voodoo Glow Skulls, to Epitaph.
Voodoo Glow Skulls are never on a major.
I know, but Epitaph essentially at that time had major label power. Or maybe even more powerful than a major label. Because they're deemed,
no, you're right.
Like this underground Suicide Machines, Hollywood Records.
True.
I'd have to look at the list, but it was like everyone was on a side.
Okay, I feel you, but all those bands made good records.
Yeah, Blue Meanies, MCA. So
how do you like that Blue Meanies record?
It's terrible.
Okay.
Because they were trying to get away from, they were trying to make something more commercially viable. And that's the kiss of death with the major label destroying the music. They should have made a record that was so fucked up and math rocky and Mr. Bungley that it would just blown people's minds. It would have had staying power. Like no one listens to their major label record. They listen to their old records and go, oh, this is the cool stuff.
The major label thing of just, I don't know. Major labels, I don't like major labels, Mike. I think they should stay away from all the music.
I don't like the music industry. I don't like.
Me neither.
I feel like the music industry is really void of much heart and much like realness. Like
I got a question for you though.
Yeah, please.
Do you feel that's still true? Because you definitely know some people. Because I feel like there are people now who operate within that who are nice people. Like, and I feel like you must work with, I know that you work with some people who are music industry, who are like, for example, you have a publicist working this record, like,
but she has punk roots and she came from San Jose and she's a gaming publicist and not a music publicist. And she's she's doing this. This is a new venture for her. And that's the only reason I jumped into this is because I know her. I know she's good people and is not tainted by the music industry because she's a gamer.
Nice.
Do you understand me?
You're part of the music industry, Mike. I
I
don't
am
even
part of the
mean
music
that.
industry.
You're not, though. You're not. I'm saying this. I don't mean it. I
Well,
really
I try to surround myself with good people. If someone's, and I feel like because I've been doing it so long, even the assholes in the music industry are nice to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's real or not. I just know that in general,
it's difficult when people are always nice to you to like know who is going to be bad.
Yeah. Are they nice to me because of who I am, or are they nice to me because they're nice people? That's what's hard. And I feel like I can feel the bullshit. I have a good bullshit radar. So I try to turn it on as much as I can.
Oh.
Yeah. I just I don't like the games. I like being able to do whatever I want. There are no rules. Yeah. No one can say, "Oh, you have to put out this." Well, it's funny when you put out. What was the first record you put out without no Post? Press? Was it Post? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna just release Post without any press," and I was like, and I felt like I sounded like a music industry head, and I was like, "Oh, you can't do that. You've got to promote it properly," and then. Obviously,
don't feel bad. Everybody told me not to do that.
But that's the beauty of it. Just like, make up your own rules, do what you want to do. And I feel like if something is good, it's going to stick.
Yeah. Okay. We've been talking for a while.
Yeah. Let's just jump into this last part and just talk about touring Asia.
Oh yeah. Well,
for us, Korea and Japan.
I would like you to talk about something that I know about, which is when you played in Korea and you were on TV, or at least on the very least on a Jumbotron. Can you just describe that?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. It was Dan Pothouse from MU330 was his band was backing me, so all of MU330, and we didn't rehearse that much. We had toured together in 1998, so they kind of knew my songs to some degree. At least they had toured with me on my songs. So I think we rehearsed one day, and we got to this festival, and there was 15,000 people there, and we're just like, "Oh,
is this Bruce Lee band build on this?"
Bruce Lee band, yeah. And we had never played in front of an audience that big, and we were just lucky. We were on. We played really well. And after the show, I remember just being sweat filled and like kind of looking at Dan, and without even saying anything, we kind of looked at each other and just like, yeah, that was pretty awesome.
I've seen videos from it. It's pretty cool to see you playing for 15,000 people.
Yeah, it's fun. I'd like to do it more. I'd like more festivals to invite me and play their giant stage. I'm going to go closing statements right now. I'm jumping into it. My closing statement is as follows. There are not a lot of people in the music industry that have touched me to a point where I go, well, this person is the real deal. And I would say you, Jeff Rosenstock, are one of those people. And I officiated Jeff's wedding. And when I was officiating the wedding, it was the first time where I got emotional, teary-eyed, talking about Jeff during the wedding. And I think it freaked Jeff out.
It didn't freak me out.
Oh yeah, I remember you going, whoa, 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 whoa.
That would be really funny. If you were like, if me and Christine were standing there, you started crying, went, whoa, 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 Mike, dial it back.
You definitely went, whoa.
No.
Well, you didn't say it loud. You were kind of like, whoa.
No.
Whoa.
Me and Christine were just looking at each other.
Going, what's the big deal?
Why in our eyes saying to each other like, oh shit, Mike is crying.
Whoa.
Mike, that was very moving, of course. Thank you for crying on my wedding day.
That's my closing statement. Also,
that's your closing statement?
Yeah, that's my closing statement. Would you like to add anything,
Mr.
Rosenstock? What's that? I was going to do an also, but it's a lame also. I'm going to end it there.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know that I have a closing statement. Bruce Lee Band, Division in the Heartland is out now. Mike has made some good music over the last year. Did that Sparks cover with Gus. There's been new. I forget. I'm sorry, but I forget if it's Ogie Kubo or Kitty Cat stuff, or is it both that like you've been putting out new stuff of over the last year? Yeah,
I was I was able to put out one new Ogie song last year, and then Kitty Cat has 4 new songs that we put out this year.
Yeah, all that stuff is really good. So check that shit out. And yeah, Ska Dream. I don't know if Ska Dream's out. Craig of the Creek. Is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this a closing statement? It's just an advertisement. Look, I don't know if you watching this, like if you pay for YouTube and so you don't have to look at the ads, but so I'm giving you ads in case you thought you could escape them.
That's very kind of you.
Craig of the Creek. New episodes maybe this week.